Okay, so hopefully you can hear me. I have a fan going um, because it's like really hot, and I'm gonna jump right into this rant. Now, this rant, honestly, I'm gonna try to keep it clean and not curse. Uh, so this could potentially be a potential. Oh God, a freaking bug is in my face. I think it's a gnat or a mosquito. Sorry about that, but so I'm gonna try to keep this clean, even though I probably will get a little angry and a little emotional because I'm a spiritual person. I don't really like to talk a lot about my spirituality because really, that's not everyone's business. It's my own business. My own beliefs are my own, and I have my own beliefs are my own, and I have reasons for believing everything that I believe, regardless of how crazy or outlandish it may sound to someone. So I'm gonna jump right into this. So I was watching these videos on YouTube, and I'm a fan of a fan. Look at me, I can't even get the words out right because my brain usually jumbles words, and then when I try to speak, sometimes it doesn't come out right, or things are missing. But so I was watching these videos on these creatures that honestly I never exactly really heard of these things. I don't know if you know what a cryptid creature is, or if you know anything about cryptozoology. But it's a thing. It may interest you. You may want to look into it. Um, so I was watching these videos of these things that they call crawlers, right? And you would describe this as basically a tall, lanky, not always, but usually they're very tall, very lanky, gaunt, pale white creature. You know, and when I say pale white, I mean like chalk white skin. I mean like deathly white um skin that looks inhuman, you know, not like a pale person, more like a porcelain doll almost, you know, like complete just void of color. Um, you know, and there's even some evidence that potentially these things may not even have feet like a person has feet. They may actually have hooves. Okay, they probably have hands, but they may possibly have hooves, as weird as this sounds. Um, Sometimes described as having what looks like a mouth that may look like a slit, or having a mouth that looks beak like. Um, a lot of times with beak like teeth, or very sharp teeth and a lot of teeth, and described as having dark black eyes, or having what you would think looks like holes for eyes that are abnormally large. Um, and so this creature is probably a nocturnal creature. Honestly, it's probably a creature that is nocturnal, humanoid for the most part in shape, not exactly human. Seems to be able to walk on two legs, but primarily walks on all fours. You know, like any primal animal you think would. You know, something that's most likely evolved and built for the outdoors more so than a civilization. But you know, it's hard to tell how intelligent something could be. But okay, so obviously this thing is a friggin' alien. Okay, let's just really, it's most likely it's an alien. Okay, because that's what it sounds like. But with that being said, um, think of it this way. And this is where I'm going to get annoyed with people. This is why I really get annoyed with people, because people are really ignorant and they're so arrogant and it's disgusting. And someone might ask, Steve, why would you say that? I'm gonna explain why. Okay, because you have people, so many people of different religions, from different cultures. We have these movies. Okay, people like to watch movies. They like to watch these Marvel movies and Harry Potter movies and all this fantasy, woo woo, spiritual, uh, fantasy, sci fi mess and nonsense. But then The minute and they literally they fascinate about it. You know, they obsess over it, fascinate about it. They're like, oh, this is so cool. Um, you know, I want to watch the Star Trek, the Star Wars, and I want to watch Harry Potter and the Labyrinth and all this stuff. And some people actually are legit, real fans of these movies, and they think to themselves, "Oh man, wouldn't that be cool?" Or like, "Wouldn't that be awesome?" But then, the funny thing is, imagine this. Okay, imagine if you had a one in a lifetime chance, right, to even try to communicate with something that was like one of your stupid little fantasy movie characters that literally was like literally near your doorstep. And not, I'm not saying let it in because you would kind of be dumb to like open your door, you know, because you really don't know the intent of the creature. I'm not saying be stupid. I'm saying to try to communicate. Communication can be made over time. Like for instance, if something keeps visiting your house and there's a barrier between you and it, why don't you leave it a gift? You know, like you could leave it a gift and then watch to see if it comes back, and then gradually you may want to stand closer to it, and then eventually you may want to only have it separate, like maybe a door separating you and the creature, you know, and watch its behavior, you know, see how it actually behaves. But the problem is this is the problem with a lot of these people. So I'm not going to mention the guy's name. I honestly don't remember his name, and honestly, people like this really honestly piss me off, like to my core. Um, so this guy says he calls like a priest, and honestly, this video could be a hoax, but from what I've seen in this video, um, I would dare say it kind of looks somewhat convincing. It's very hard to see; it's kind of blurry. This creature outside of this guy's door, but I would say this: if that was an actor, they did a real good job of moving how a semi bipedal creature would actually move. Um, Crouch, hunch, stand up, and interact with an area that maybe it didn't wasn't so familiar with. And if you ask me, oh, well, how would you know how a creature? Man, you know how many years I've studied animals and people's movements and people's anatomy and animals' anatomy. Um, so I'm no expert, but I'm gonna tell you, if I there, I know movement. You know, I know movement in animals and movement in people. So I'm gonna say this: the way that the way that this thing was moving or person, it was not normal. Even if someone was acting, it actually was so abnormal. It would be hard for a person to literally fake this, to act this way. I don't care how many drugs you're on. It would be very hard for a person to act that way. To even to hold themselves in that type of posture and move a certain way. And I'm pretty sure if anyone even dare be listening to this that's had any encounters with anything that they would say they didn't know what they were seeing or they thought it was abnormal or paranormal, they would understand what I'm saying. Um, so this guy calls a priest or something, and this is where I get annoyed. You know, he's praying and supposedly he's prays in tongues, and this thing starts to recede and go away and starts to wander away. Now, first off, this guy annoys me because he's using all of these slurs and he's saying this demonic thing is, it looks like a gargoyle, it's horrible, it's demonic, this evil demonic thing. Like, okay, first off, have you studied any occult practices or do you know any demons, anything about any ancient gods? Do you know anything to call something a demon? Do you even know what a demon is? Do you know anything about anything? So it's like when people use those slurs and words, it makes me think you know nothing but what you've seen, that you've heard in some Christian Bible, that you've heard preached, maybe something you saw in a movie, something you watched on friggin' Netflix, something you watched on. It's like you're drawing your information from the most asinine, idiotic, common knowledge, common human modern based dribble that holds up nothing in the real world, that nothing that you would ever interact with in the real world outside of from sitting on your friggin' couch watching a movie in the comfort of your little home, you're what you're talking means nothing. Those are just empty words. You're not talking nothing. You have a lot of emotion, and you may not know anything you're talking about. So look, I'm gonna say it like this, so this makes someone understand it better. Imagine if there was a foreign exchange student or something from a completely different planet, even, or plane of existence, and you just happen to have the honor because that creature was curious enough to stumble on your territory, and you had a chance to actually possibly make contact with someone or something that few people could ever even see with their own eyes, and you mean to tell me that your reaction to this thing in your words that you speak out of your mouth, because people really don't understand, words are not just words all the time. Words, even if they're empty words, your intent behind it has effect, whether you really know it or not. So you mean to tell me that you had that chance and you're sitting there cowering like a fool and a straight coward? Let me tell you this too, man. Um, in case you didn't know, that sometimes, depending on how strong an animal or person or whatever in between it is, if it really wanted to knock down your door or knock your door off a hinge and get in, it most likely easily could. Okay, because you got to understand, a lot of these things are much stronger than people. I mean, like way stronger, like stronger than stronger than some of these strong men that they have out here. These like world's strongest man strong. They're some of these beings are so powerful that literally, if they wanted to get into your house, they would be in there. It doesn't matter what type of locks you have on your door. Some of them would knock the thing right off, all right off the hinges. Literally, if they wanted to get in, if they were aggressive and they really wanted something bad enough, or wanted to do something to you to get in. Sometimes so you have to also consider, because you're so caught up in your emotion, that it's like, how do you know this thing really wanted anything? You know, um, so it's almost, I look at it like it's almost like if a human being that was completely foreign from a different land just was curious, and let's say you per se tried to, if you really couldn't communicate with them, even just showing your face visibly to them, and trying your best to leave like a gift or gifts to develop some type of rapport, even if it's nonverbal, I would say, that might be something you might want to look into. But I'm trying, and I'm going to go real deep. Like you don't want to offend something or things. Like you don't want to offend something you really don't know anything about. Like that's how you really want to start something. Like you really want to start off an experience that you probably would never in your life think you could have. Start it off like that. That's how you want to start it off. So this basically is a rant on like how come people are so brainwashed to uh um take upon themselves knowledge that is like basically not real knowledge. That's like, people say like demonic, this thing is scary. It's what do they say? This thing looks like the devil. It looks like a gargoyle. It's like, okay, let me ask you this: if you were born in an environment to where your survival was based upon you being able to survive the elements, hunt, scavenge, and you were a creature of the wilderness, what the heck do you think you would look like? Do you think you would be walking around with some little pretty Caucasian haircut, and you would have some little fancy smancy shoes on your little feet, and you would have like this model-esque face, you have this pretty little face and this pretty little human posture, and what the heck do you think you would look like, man? What do you think would happen if they were to stick you out in that creature's environment for like even a day or some nights? Do you think you would survive out in those elements? No, you would die, because you got to understand, all I'm saying is you have to change the way that your mind thinks. People need to change the way their mind thinks, man. Because it might sound insane to you, because in seconds, if you see something that invokes fear, your brain automatically shoots to the negative. And then you may even say, well, I felt like it was emitting fear, like almost like as if this thing was like trying to project fearfulness on you. No, no, what it is you're creating that reality yourself. A lot of times you're creating that because of preconceived notions, and because these stupid Netflix, stupid sci-fi movies, all these horror movies, all this crap that you people are watching, that make you have a preconceived notion of something because it simply looks so different to you or seems so different when you come into contact with it. So, you really got to be a lot smarter, man. You got to be smarter, man. Um, and these, I'm gonna have to, I'm gonna go on another a rant, but a little bit more about how like people that annoy me. It's like, what is with these dudes? It's always these like I'm no friggin' like rocket scientist or nothing, but I get annoyed with these like lazy sounding, stupid type of dudes. You know what I mean? Like, white or black, this isn't really about race. This just these stoops just dudes that are just like so lazy and dumb. Like, see me to tell me it's like, oh yeah, bro, look at it. It looks like a gargoyle. Oh, it looks like a friggin' oh man, it looks like something I saw out of a horror movie. That thing looks demonic, man. Oh my god, look at it. It's like okay, calm down. Get your titties out of the twist. Oh, it's like calm down. Just calm down for 1 second. First off, because all you're doing is throwing slurs. Think of it this way. It's like, could you imagine as me as a black man, as if humans had never seen a black man before, and then like I appear and they're like, oh man, look at his big lips, look at his nose, oh look at his hair, oh man, he looks like a they may even say, "Oh, he looks like dirt. Look at his skin. Like, oh my god." Or like, it's like, are you kidding me? Like, just really think of it. Really think of what you're really projecting at something that you know nothing about. It's like you're completely prejudging something or someone, some being that you know absolutely nothing about that being. It's like you're crazy. It's like you gotta be out. Like you gotta stop it, man. Now I could see if the thing was growling at you and it had a really crazed posture and it was like clawing the surfaces of the area and it was like really acting like it wanted to like get at you. I mean, it would make a little more sense. But if something is just kind of awkwardly, what's the word, stumbling, and the reason why a lot of beings when they walk on two legs they seem to stumble is because you got to understand the locomotion of something with a bone structure that is probably semi quadrupedal to bipedal. How having, I think they're called haunches or whatever, when you have legs like that, not saying that they can't indefinitely just stand, because I'm pretty sure a lot of these beings can just stand on two legs indefinitely and have very good balance, probably better balance than some people, some of them. But you have to understand, to when you are from the wilderness and you come into contact with a different surface, you would, even a person may slouch, they may stagger their stance, um, or if you've been walking around in a certain posture for a long time, or maybe honestly, if you're nocturnal, you may have just honestly got up. So there's a lot of things that like you have to really be practical. And someone would say, "Well, this sounds completely ridiculous." No, you're completely ridiculous, because the thing is, you need to take your thumb out of your butt, take your head out of your booty hole, study some animals, study about cryptids, do some research about extraterrestrials, research human anatomy, research animal anatomy, research a bunch of crap. First off, why don't you take your head out of your booty hole, go online, um, research instances that were non-threatening between people and unknown entities, and observe how even sometimes some of these entities, believe it or not, have actually protected human beings before, as crazy as it sounds. Do some research about that so your mind will at least start to have a opportunity to see a non-negative possibility of a situation of you encountering a being. Because this crap is just, I honestly, I'm just downright sick of it. Because it's like, you mean to tell me that you're gonna use words like demonic, gargoyle? Like, what do you think we're in the friggin' the medieval times? What do you think we're in the Middle Ages or something? Just shut up with that crap. You're crazy, man. Shut up. It's like you're gonna use those type of words about something you know nothing about because it visits you uh frequently at nighttime. Are you sure it's not just a nocturnal being that is curious and it realizes there's another living being in there? How do you not know that this thing has never seen another human, or not another, but a human in its life? And what would you do if you never saw, let's say, a white tiger or something? Let's say if you never saw, let's just say, let's just keep it really real. Let's say if you've never seen a flying feline creature in your human days, in one day you happen to realize, this, no one shoots at me, this isn't a lot of noise, this thing isn't threatening. What is this thing? I mean, it has two eyes like I have, it can walk like I have, it has a head like I have, it has hands like I have. What is it? You know what I mean? Like, is it threatening? I'm curious, like, how come it doesn't shoot at me? How come it doesn't try to shoo me away? um what is this crazy structure that this thing is moving around in, and what is this barrier between me and this other being? Think of it like that, like how it's like when a child, if you've ever had, like, been in a store and, like, a child may walk up to you, and a child may try, a very young child, almost like a toddler, may try to, like, greet you, or may try to touch your face, like, because they're used to seeing their mom and dad's face. I'm a black man. A little white baby is not used to seeing my face. You know what I mean? Often they'll try to, like, touch my face, or whatever. They'll try to do, because they're not used to seeing it. It's like, you have to understand, even a being just like us, like, we go to the zoo. When you see a friggin' stingray for the first time, I mean, you kind of probably would, if you were able to see it again, you probably would come, even at a distance, if you're afraid, you will probably come and stare at it again and again, because it's something so different. You're like, what in the heck is this? So think of it, and this is really what I'm delving into, is simply to have what they call, as a human, empathy, which you should have some of. You should have some empathy. So you have to be able to look at, what are the eyes of that creature seeing? Not, it looks like a gargoyle. It's hideous, it's scary. This is freaky. This thing is demonic. No, how about you think of it like this? Like, what is that thing looking at when it's looking at me? Is it thinking that that thing kind of looks like me, but it looks way different? Like, what in the world is that? Is it thinking, huh, I come from a world that's very coarse, very harsh. There's a lot of bigger, more powerful, even maybe predatory type of beings. That thing over there doesn't look so threatening. I'm not used to this. You really don't know. So my thing that I'm really trying to say, which will honestly change some people's life out there, depending on who they are, if they're listening, and if they think the right thing and do the right thing. All I'm saying is, maybe you might want to start thinking in that type of thought form, in pattern, instead of this crazed, lazy mentality that most people have about things that they don't understand or not used to. Okay, because this is just crazy. You know what I mean? I mean, maybe you don't even believe in anything. Maybe you don't believe in extraterrestrials, any type of spirits. You don't believe anything exists. Which, if you don't, you're actually dead wrong. But I'll put it like this: if you ever want a chance in your life of ever making contact with anything, and you're on some, some of that, oh well, this looks like that. It's like, who knows? Maybe you will make a lot of contact, because honestly, a lot of these people, they're the very people that make contact. Um, But and sometimes maybe you don't want to, because yes, some of these beings could be very sinister, and only God knows. So, like I said, I wouldn't open the door. Honestly, I wouldn't open my door. I would let the thing see. I would let it see me, so it would know that like I've seen it and it sees me, and I would try to like build upon that. But I wouldn't open the door. But one thing I wouldn't do is I'm not gonna be like calling something demonic. And then you also have to take into consideration that you don't know if something can read your intent or not. So if your intent is judgmental, that's not a good way to start off anything. I hope you understand, people are listening understand anything that I'm saying, because that's serious stuff that you're dealing with. If you have that type of activity in your life, then you're dealing with some serious stuff. Okay. And it's not. And honestly, this actually this is talking, when I'm really getting down to, is about morals. This is about your morals as a man. You calling yourself a man. Especially the hypocrisy of this is that you may even call yourself a Christian, and you're out of line. Like, you're crazy. You're straight up buck wild and friggin' crazy, and you are out of line to dare call yourself holy or whatever you want to think you are, and you really are fooling yourself, because that's how you react to something. So you think that uh you're cultured, or you think you're a Christian, or you think you're this, or you think you're that, and you're a buffoon. You're a darn fool. It's like, you really are a fool if you really believe the words that are coming out of your mouth, because that's almost as dumb as me seeing a guinea pig and straight up blasting the thing, saying that it is that it's a wild boar, or calling it a pig, you know. So obviously you really don't know the even possibility of what a guinea pig could be, because you're calling it everything else. You know what you're talking about. Maybe you're right. You could be right, honestly. Um, but you could be completely wrong, because it could be like it could simply just be a different version of a human from a different plane of existence, from a different formatted type of world, to where the humanoids there do not sit around and play Fortnite on Xbox. The humans there do not uh masturbate to Pornhub and call a priest, when they feel scared. Like, the humans there have to hunt and have to scour and scavenge and survive elements, and the humans there, their bodies are adapted to live in harsh, wild environments and in dark environments, and they're nocturnal. So that's why they have, you know big black bug eyes, and they're stark pale white, and they have, sharp teeth and haunches, and look like a gargoyle and all that stuff. Maybe that's why they look like that, because wherever they come from, that is how they survive. They're always been that way. That's how they survive. Because if you were to be there, your body couldn't survive. Your body just wouldn't make it. You don't have the right type. It's like you thinking that you're going to be a raccoon and think you're going to live like a raccoon and crawl around on all fours and climb trees and eat what raccoons eat. You really think that you're going to look like friggin' whoever you look like, whatever common human that you look like, and you think you're really going to survive with that? Nah, you're not. You're not. So think of it like that. It's like, what would happen if you tried to give a friggin' a chimpanzee, even a very smart chimpanzee. Let's say a chimpanzee that was as smart as a person, if that was a thing. Let's say, what would happen if he was raised in like a rainforest and you tried to give him an iPhone? I mean, really, like, what do you think's gonna happen? He might not even pay it any mind, or he might pick it up, smell it, and then toss it. I don't know, So you got to think practically, and use the logical part of your brain, not the emotional part of your brain, not the cowardly, fearful part of your brain. You know, so it's funny that, someone would resort to calling a Christian person, and Christians claim that, God hasn't given them the spirit of fear and all this BS, because they all, that's the thing, I'm sorry, but that's the thing I have to say I hate about Christians, is Christians are some of the most hypocritical freaking people that have ever walked the earth. It's literally like everything that you say you believe, everything you do, and everything that you seem to manifest in your life proves opposite. It's almost as if your God just does not exist. It just really, it's retarded. And then you say, oh well, if there wasn't power, then why would this creature leave? Or how do you even, it's like, how do you even know anything that's going on a spiritual level? How do you really know? Like, what if the creature just left because it literally got bored and realized, well, he ain't showing up, ain't no show tonight, nothing to see, I'm leaving? Or how do you not know that this creature left because of the intent in those prayers? You know what I'm saying? Like, because a lot of times people want to fit in. If you project to someone, you're threatening, you're scary, you're this, you're that, that is kind of hurtful, and honestly, that may draw someone or something back. It will push them away because they really don't want that. They don't want to feel judged like that. So, what I'm saying is, just use your friggin' brain, man. Like, use the logical part of your brain and not the emotional part. If you take anything from what I'm saying, take that from that. And it's like, when you want to get into your emotions when you actually should. Like, let your emotions drive you when it's when a being or a person is worthy of your emotions positively affecting them or whatever. But when your emotions get on some straight up ignorant, straight up nonsensical, straight up cowardice, straight up I got my panties in a bunch, my left titty is in a twist, when you get all up in that, realize that you are delving into like this realm of stupidity. Like, realize that if you're right, then you're right. But if you're wrong, you're on some straight stupid nonsense. So that's the rant. That this is a cryptid rant. This is basically, you can call it a cryptid rant if you want, whatever. Um, and that's my rant. And have a nice day. Oh yeah, by the way, um, like, comment, and subscribe. This is Steve's Art and Fun channel. This is in the rants playlist because this is a rant. Okay. This has been Steve from the back. Okay. That's the nickname. It's not an alias, it's a nickname. This is Steve from the back. This has been my rant, and I hope that you took something from it. Those that are like a little bit smarter, you know. So respect to those who actually got what they should out of it, in a straight up slap in the face in a friggin' black eye to those who are stupid enough, not black guy, a black eye and a busted lip from those little pansies that still are stuck on stupid that listen to this rant.